Galanti and Justin. We've had a warm week here in Maryland, but it is freezing cold today between the Patriots and the Terps as they get set to start their seasons here in College Park.
Yeah, Connor, just about 30 degrees here in College Park in this big stadium for a good matchup as the Terps get the season underway. You see it there, 34 degrees. Not too much humidity. The good news is that the sun is out. Wind shouldn't play a factor, but everybody knows it's a little bit tougher to play in the cold, so we'll see sort of how that affects today. We had the men's game right before this, a little bit low scoring, and it got tight late. You wonder if, some guys had trouble in the cold. We'll see how the ladies do this afternoon.
And we'll see if Maryland can use that cold to its advantage. This Terps team has won 77 games in a row here in College Park, a streak that hasn't come very close to being broken recently, and this Terps team obviously has been great in season openers, won every season opener under head coach Kathy Rees, and of course there you see the 77 straight wins at home since 2012. That was the last time this Maryland team lost at College Park, whether it's at the Field Hockey and Lacrosse Complex or right here at Maryland Stadium. This Maryland team just so tough to beat here in College Park.
Yeah, and Maryland's tough to beat anywhere. But as you said, in College Park, they've absolutely dominated under Kathy Rees, one of the preeminent programs in America. But as you touched on, a change of venue this season from the Field Hockey and Lacrosse Complex. They have to come across campus, play here in the football stadium. The Field Hockey Lacrosse Complex getting the turf redone right now. So this is their home this season, a cool chance to play on a big field with a lot of seats here, a little bit bigger crowd maybe than you would see at the complex across campus. So a nice home for a team that's been so dominant, especially in College Park.
And we talk about Kathy Rees, the Terps 12-0 in season openers under her in her 13th season at the helm of the Terps. She is 239 and 21 in her career, just 21 losses as the head coach of the Terps in 12 seasons. Of course, this Terps team, however, looked like they were primed for possibly another national championship last year after they had the perfect season back in 2017 and won it all. But last year went up to Long Island for the Final Four in Stony Brook and an upset loss to Boston College in the national semifinal. Now that BC team is ranked preseason number 1 this year ahead of Maryland. James Madison was kind of the Cinderella, ended up winning it all last season in women's lacrosse, but a little bit of a disappointing end for Maryland, a disappointing end for Megan Whittle in her senior year, the all-time leading scorer at Maryland. Now she's gone, and the Terps have to look to kind of bounce back from a little bit of a disappointing end to the 2018 season.
Right, Connor. It really says something about the program when you have one loss in the regular season, you lose in the Final Four, and the year is viewed as a disappointment. But unfortunately, that's sort of the way it was for Maryland last year. However, coming into this year, they're preseason number 2. They bring back so much of the team except for Megan Whittle, as you said. And the question is, how do they replace Megan Whittle? The answer there is probably Jen Giles. But if you ask the question, where does Maryland excel, maybe more than any other team in the country, it's in net with Megan Taylor. 2 years ago, the national goalkeeper of the year. Last year, the Big Ten goalie of the year. She is dominant in net, and one of the reasons that Maryland is expected to make its way back to the Final Four and perhaps further this season.
Of course, Megan Taylor, the senior from Glen Elk, Maryland, 4th all-time in Maryland history with 523 career saves. She led the Big Ten with 189 stops in the net last season for Maryland, and this Terps team in the all-white today as they will take on the George Mason Patriots team out of the A-10 Conference. This George Mason team, one of the best teams in the A-10, but never been to the NCAA tournament, is UMass, really a team that dominates that A-10 conference every single year, and UMass looking to put together another good season this year. And George Mason picked to finish 5th in the A-10 this year, which is a little lower than usual, and kind of a smaller team this season. They lost some scoring from last year, but this will be obviously a very tough test for the Patriots today here at Maryland Stadium. The opening draw is off, and here we go on BTN. Connor Newcomb, Justin Galanti with you. We thank you so much for joining us here on a Saturday afternoon. The second-ranked Terps and the George Mason Patriots. Patriots in the green here today, the Terps in the white, and a fight for it right here on the big stadium as you see the yard markers here on the football stadium, but getting down the lacrosse field as well. The Maryland men's team playing just before this one, a 10-9 victory over Richmond in the first half of our doubleheader here. And now the women's team gets its chance to open its season with a victory here on a very cold February day in College Park. George Mason starting with the possession here, trying to set somewhat of a tone. Obviously, a team that is going to be a little overlooked, a little overmatched in this game by the second-ranked Maryland Terrapins. But George Mason, they've got some firepower offensively, which starts with Chachi Callahan, the senior attacker who scored 52 goals last season. And she will be the key for this George Mason team if they want to really stay in this game for a while. There's Callahan with the ball now as she's trying to work it inside the fan for George Mason, but she will instead give it up. And the Patriots will work it behind the goal here. And passing it back out top there for the Patriots. Looking for some way inside this Maryland defense, which has been historically so good. A little move there from Haley Johnson. Now pass inside, and George Mason has struck first in this one. That's Deanna Balsama, the freshman out of Sewell, New Jersey. Strikes first for the Patriots, and a little bit of a surprise there. The freshman found a hole in the Maryland defense, and it's 1-0 George Mason.
And such a patient possession there by George Mason. You see the spin move from Balsama to get around her defender, Megan Doherty, and gets a great look at net. Not much Megan Taylor could do about that one. And you said, Connor, George Mason is going to be looking to establish a tone in this game. No better way than to score first.
So Deanna Balsama, the freshman, gets her first goal, a 2018 U.S. Lacrosse High School All-American. Seems like she'll be really the third big attack presence on this George Mason team behind Chachi Callahan, the senior, and then Aaron Donahue, the sophomore, who was the A-10 freshman of the year last season. But this team really needed a third option, and so far it looks like Balsama is going to be that option as she gets inside and scores to start the scoring today here in College Park. But Maryland comes up with a draw control here, and the Terps will have their first possession about 2 minutes into this one, trailing 1-0, and back the other way comes Jen Giles. Giles, the senior for the Terps, out of Ellicott City, Maryland. He's going to be the offensive star, it looks like, of this Terps team. 52 goals last year for the captain in her junior campaign. Terps looking to tie this thing at 1. Here's Giles. Going to her left now. Giles gets inside. Her shot is saved, though, by Melissa Simku. And it will go back to the Patriots. So the George Mason junior goalkeeper makes a stop there. The junior out of Frederick, Maryland, one of the many George Mason Patriots, with a little bit of a homecoming game today. And GMU will have the possession back.
And no better start you could have drawn up if you're George Mason. You get a good save there. Giles looked like she was going to the high left corner of the net, and a great save. And now George Mason, looking to clear, turns it over, and obviously that's something they cannot afford in a game like this.
Terps will go the other way after the turnover here. Streaking down the field comes Maryland. After that first shot was saved, Terps looking to even this game up. Send it over to Callie Hartshorn. Hartshorn was such a great season last year. She passes it off. Now to go inside to Syverson. And she kicks it back out for the Terps offense with Jen Giles. Giles swings it around to Grace Griffin. Her pass looking in the corner there for Erica Evans will go wide, and the Terps turn it over. Looking for the grad transfer Erica Evans from Canisius, the all-time leading scorer for Canisius with 186 career goals. Having 1 year of eligibility left this season, she comes to the Terps, becomes a starter, but she couldn't handle that pass. It goes back to the Patriots. George Mason looking across midfield here with Kelly Riley, the junior midfielder out of Middle River, Maryland. But again, another turnover, and back come the Terps. Here comes Maryland the other way. It's going to be a one-on-one with the goalkeeper here. A shot, and it's tied at 1. Callie Hartshorn gets the goal. Her first of the season and the first of 2019 for Maryland to tie things up at 1.
And that's just way too easy for Hartshorn, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year a few years ago, and as you said, expected to be a huge part of this offensive attack. And essentially on the turnover from George Mason, this turns into a 1-on-0 fast break from Hartshorn, makes the deke, goes right over the goalkeeper, puts it in the back of the net. She's going to score that 99 times out of 100, maybe 100 out of 100. Good way for Maryland to get back even. And Connor, an early storyline. Clearly, George Mason's struggling to clear the ball. If they can't do that, it's obviously going to spell trouble for the Patriots.
And Maryland's had a little bit of an issue controlling into the offensive end, and George Mason's had a lot of possession, but obviously, as you said, just trouble clearing it for the Patriots. And a .904 clear percentage last season as a team, but struggling so far today. Hartshorn gets her first of the season. She had 38 goals last year as a sophomore. And now a draw here with the game tied at 1, just under 26 minutes to play in the first half between Maryland and George Mason. It'll be Hartshorn, the goal scorer, to take the draw. And the referees blow it dead, and they will redo it here in the center circle. Terps last season 20-2, went 7-0 in the Big Ten. Of course, losing in the national semifinal to Boston College. George Mason on the other end, 11-7, 5-4 in the Atlantic 10 Conference. But were bounced out of the A-10 tournament in the first round, ending their season. This draw bounces around here. Evans looking for it. Ref blows the whistle and will give it George Mason's way. So the Patriots will have possession. This time, don't have to worry about a clear attempt, as they will again get possession in Maryland's end. Aaron Donahue gets the draw control for the Patriots. George Mason looking to answer back from that Maryland breakaway goal from Callie Hartshorn that tied things at 1. George Mason with a goal on its only shot so far today. That tally coming early in this one from the freshman, Deanna Balsama. Mason with it behind the goal here. That's Balsama, the goal scorer. Now she'll give it off. And the George Mason offense, as we saw in their first possession, just kind of passed it around and were very patient with the ball until they found an opening, as they've cut off more than half of the 90-second shot clock so far already, just looking for a seam. Chachi Callahan, she hands it off for Johnson. Johnson makes a move to her left, now back to her right, gets inside. Her shot is easily saved, though. Megan Taylor, the senior, gets her first save of the season, and the Terps will have it the other way.
And that's good defense by Maryland. Last time that George Mason had the ball on the offensive end, the Maryland defense broke down a little bit late in the shot clock, but this time they were steadfast, didn't allow George Mason to get a good shot. It was an opportunity there for Johnson, but right at the right foot of Taylor where she's able to make a pretty easy save.
Terps come the other way, a foul called on the ground ball there. The Terps will still have it. And Caroline Steele, the senior, left-handed shooter, will pass it off for Evans. And now it's Grace Griffin. Griffin feeds inside, a wide-open steal. She scores, and Maryland takes the lead at 2-1. The senior Caroline Steele with her first of the season.
And that's just beautiful ball movement from Maryland. We saw the fast break for the first goal, and this is a team that likes to play up-tempo. And while this wasn't a fast break, they went early in the shot clock, some good passing to Steele right in the middle, finds the opening in the center of the George Mason defense, and a low bounce shot gets Maryland on top for the first time this season.
So George Mason striking first in this one with the Terps with back-to-back goals, with two of their scoring leaders that they expect score a lot this season. Caroline Steele had 59 goals last year. It was second on the team. She gets her first of the year. Hartshorn has one as well. It'll be those two along with Jen Giles, who should pick up a lot of the scoring this year for Maryland. Terps have a 2-1 lead here at Maryland Stadium on the goal there from Steele. Grace Griffin gets the assist. That is her first for the sophomore out of Sykesville, Maryland. That was a nice pass inside by Griffin on that goal, who really controlled the ball for most of that possession. Draw again here with Hartshorn. She'll look to win another one for Maryland. She'll face off with Olivia O'Brien, sophomore from Huntingtown, Maryland. Again, another player, a little bit of a homecoming today. Talking with George Mason head coach Jessie Morgan yesterday in her 5th season at the helm, she said she recruited a lot of this roster from the state of Maryland, and obviously her team very excited to go up against one of the best teams in the country, but a little bit of extra excitement and motivation for a lot of her players who played their high school lacrosse in Maryland, as did Coach Morgan, who one of the best players in McDonough High School history. So a lot of connections back here, a lot of the George Mason family members obviously here at this game in College Park, but George Mason controls this draw and will have a chance to tie things up back at 2.
And not only did these players, have the motivation coming in against Maryland, as they are from the state, but they also played against each other in high school quite a bit. So these players are familiar with one another. These schools play relatively often. So, a good matchup today, and George Mason looking to show out in a lot of homecomings, as you said.
Here's Johnson. She's looking for Callahan. Her pass goes wide, but it's run down there by the sophomore Aaron Donahue. Reigning A10 Rookie of the Year, Donahue goes to her left. Her shot goes wide of the cage, and it's knocked out of bounds, and George Mason will keep the possession. Terps went running after it there. Megan Darty, the redshirt junior defender, but she couldn't get to it, and the Patriots maintained possession. Callahan again will feed it off to her left for Allie Johnston. And Johnston will give it right back to the senior Chachi Callahan. Mason will send it around the cage here. Donahue looking for a pass. Instead gives it off to Johnston. Here's Johnston on the right hand. Gets inside the fan. Now her pass was to no one in particular right there, and it will go out of play back to Maryland.
Good defense again for Maryland. It got late in the shot clock, and George Mason just had nowhere to go with the ball. And now Maryland, we saw on the other side, Maryland was pressuring George Mason, not allowing them to clear. George Mason keeps everybody on the defensive side of the 50-yard line. That sort of allows Maryland to clear easily, not wanting Maryland offensive players to get behind the back line and get easy goals like we saw in the first one today.
So the Terps now trying to open up the lead. It's currently 2-1. Here's Hartshorn. She'll feed it across the field here. Jen Giles. Giles a feed inside back to Hartshorn, but she misses there. She was one-on-one with the goalkeeper, Simku, but couldn't put it on the net. Terps right back to it behind the goal. First time we've called Brindy Griffin's name today. A feed inside here for Evans, and there's her first Maryland goal for the graduate transfer, Erica Evans. She scores and put the Terps up 3-1.
And Evans right there does a great job, very similar to what we saw from Hartshorn just a moment before that, finding an opening in the middle of the George Mason defense. You see there, she's wide open and just bounces it in. Easy goal for the Terps. 3-1, they have the lead. And again, Kathy Reese's offense playing up-tempo, moving early in the shot clock, and getting great looks at the net.
And Grace Griffin gets her second assist already for the sophomore, who had only 7 assists last year, did Grace Griffin, but she's got 2 already today. She's been great distributing the ball from the top of the circle here so far for Maryland. And the Terps, just over 21 minutes to play in the first half, have a 3-1 lead. Terps on the draw so far. It's been a little bit of a struggle. George Mason has controlled 3 of the 4 so far.
And all 3 they've been controlled, Connor, have been violations against Hartshorn.
So we'll see if Callie Hartshorn, who has a goal already and just missed her second on that last possession, see if she can win this one for the Terrapins. That one high in the air and fought for again. It was ground ball, and it's picked up there by Donahue for the Patriots. Again, 4 out of 5 draw controls for George Mason, and that's what's keeping this Patriots team in the game so far, giving them some possession. The other way comes Kelly Riley for the Patriots. Nice feed inside. That's Rachel Woods, the defender, who will hand it off and get back across midfield.
And again, we'll see the contrasting style where Maryland goes so quickly offensively. George Mason waits for everybody to set up, and now they're just going to pass it around the fan and look for an opening at some point in the next 52 seconds that are left on the shot clock.
And again, they looking to use all 90 of those seconds on the shot clock here to control possession. And they did a nice job on the first possession, finding a shot late in the shot clock and scoring, but not the same the last couple of possessions, as they now have 35 to shoot. Still haven't really made a move on goal. Bounce pass there was tough to handle for Johnson, but she tracks it down before Syverson could get to it. Now here come the Patriots with Callahan. Chachi Callahan to her left. And the referee blows the whistle here with 17 on the shot clock. And we'll see if it's a free position shot for George Mason. It will be for Chachi Callahan. Chance to cut this lead in half right here for the senior Callahan. 17 out of 34 she was on free position shots last season. Here comes the senior, and her shot is blocked away by a Maryland stick. Well, we'll see what the call is, and it will go to the Terps.
It was a violation against George Mason. They entered too early, and so the shot didn't even count. So a turnover on a free position shot, another mistake from the Patriots.
And talking to Coach Morgan yesterday, she said one thing that Callahan does need to improve on her game, despite her being one of the best players in George Mason history, is that she needs to be a little more efficient with her shots. And she mentioned those free position opportunities as well. 50% was good last season, but she wants her to be more efficient with her shooting all around in every facet of the game. And obviously right there, a violation on one of her teammates, so she couldn't even get the shot off. Here comes Griffin inside, and another save, as George Mason will go the other way. A save with a stick there from Melissa Simcoe, denying Brindy Griffin of her first goal.
And Griffin made a nice move around Rachel Woods and got in front of the net, and a really good save again by Simcoe. As you said, she's had 2 today that have kept this game relatively close at 3-1. But we were talking about earlier, the pressure Maryland applies not allowing George Mason to clear easily.
So back come the Patriots the other way. That's Morgan Rinn, the junior. We'll bring it across midfield and feed it off for Kelly Riley. Now George Mason will again kind of sit down into that offense with 55 on the shot clock. Simcoe on the other end, the junior from Frederick, Maryland. She made 11 starts in the goal last year, 11.04 goals against average for her in her sophomore year. She starts week 1 here for the Patriots. Again, George Mason deep into the shot clock with under 30 to shoot. Chachi Callahan will hand it off for Johnson. Johnson makes a move to her right and feeds behind the goal now. The left-hander, Balsama, hands it off. Fighting for position there is Juliana Brown. She'll feed inside, and there's the second goal of the day for George Mason. Scored by Erin Donahue, and it's now 3-2 as the sophomore gets her first goal of the season.
And that was a great pass right into the middle, and George Mason, similar to that first possession, it works out using most of the shot clock. You see going in offensively, Brown looking for an angle, turns back to her left, turns right, and sees the cutter in the middle, and an easy goal for George Mason. No time in and out of the stick of Donahue for the goal.
Sophomore Erin Donahue from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, started every game last year as a freshman for the Patriots, scored 44 goals last year on her way to being named the A-10 Rookie of the Year and the 2018 First Team All-Atlantic 10 selection. She was second on the team in goals. A little bit of a change here for the Terps taking the draw. It will be the senior Megan Syverson, as Callie Hartshorn has struggled. She's lost 4 of the 5 so far. The Terps up just 3-2 now. They'll make a change. Syverson, the senior from Morristown, New Jersey, will take the draw here against Abby Folker. Popped up in the air, and Folker almost had it, but Syverson eventually wins it for Maryland, so the change by Kathy Reese works out for the Terps. Syverson the other way, she's double teamed, but she gets it away, and now Maryland has numbers. Evans for Giles. Giles loses control, but the whistle blows, and a little bit too much contact there, taking it out of the stick of Jen Giles.
Yeah, she got hit up high, and that'll set up this opportunity.
Free position shot here for Jen Giles. Just outside the fan as she'll look to double Maryland's lead. The senior from Ellicott City, who had 52 goals last season, looking for her first one of this year. In goes Giles, and she goes through the legs of Simcoe to give Maryland a 4-2 lead.
That's 5-hole from number 5. She shows the speed to get inside and give herself a pretty clean look at the net. And as you said, bounce shot right through the legs. Gets Maryland this 4-2 lead. Simcoe had a pretty good reaction to it, got the stick down, but just a tad late, and Giles gets the goal.
2018 IWLCA All-American Jen Giles scores for the first time in 2019. And the Terps are up 4-2 here. So Maryland going with that change inside the draw circle, and it worked out with Syverson winning it. And the Terps going the other way and scoring the goal to double the lead. Looks like Kathy Reese will stay with Syverson on the draw here. Now taking it for George Mason, Olivia O'Brien. They've used 3 different players so far. And Maryland wins this one as well.
They're going to look to run.
Syverson coming quickly. Feeds inside for Griffin. And Griffin has it knocked off her stick. But the whistle blows, and it looks like she was contacted in the head there. A bit of a dangerous play. And Grace Griffin will get her opportunity.
Yeah, looking at the replay on the big board here, might have been the head or neck or left shoulder area. Either way, it was up high, and now she has this opportunity.
Grace Griffin with 2 assists already today, but now she will look for her first goal. Here comes Griffin right in on goal, and it's stopped there by Simku. What a save there. Griffin almost threw it directly into her goalie stick right there, but that was a nice save. Might have a free position opportunity here. It'll be from a tougher angle here for Hartshorn, but she'll get the chance to give her team a 3-goal lead. Right-handed shooter is Callie Hartshorn. She gets inside and flips it back out to Jen Giles. Maybe too tough of an angle there for Hartshorn to try and get a shot off.
And it looked like 2 defenders were going to be able to cut her off on the way to the net.
A drive inside there from Steele, and she is knocked to the ground. And that call is going to go against the Patriots. It was an aggressive move there from the senior Caroline Steele. See on the replay, she gets inside, and she's tripped up a little bit as she tried to get that one on goal. And Steele will have it from even more severe angle right here. She'll pass it out to Giles. Giles makes a move, but the whistle blows again here. And Jen Giles will get a free position. This one from right out top. Still plenty of time on the shot clock for the Terrapins as Giles will look to extend the lead here. Jen Giles gets inside and scores her 2nd goal of the day. Jen Giles goes top shelf and makes it 5-2 Maryland.
And it looked like there was a little subtle head fake from Jen Giles on her way in, maybe making it look like she was going to pass off to the left in Hartshorn, but instead goes top right corner of the net, her 2nd of the day, and the dynamic senior picks up a big goal for Maryland to get it to 5-2.
The Terps slowly starting to pull away, and Jesse Morgan will take time out with 14:04 to play in the first half. Terps lead it 5-2 here on BTN.
I would like to thank all of our hometown heroes for their daily sacrifices to keep the rest of us safe. Thank you to all our hometown heroes for all the sacrifices you make. We appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you for the sacrifices that you make every day, and I hope you enjoy the game. Thank you to all of our hometown heroes that are out at the game today. Hope you enjoy the game, and go Terps. Hey, hometown heroes, thanks for coming to this game. Hope you enjoy it.
Connor Newcomb, Justin Galanti back here at Maryland Stadium. And Justin, the Terps with a 5-2 lead and finally picking up the offense here in College Park.
Yeah, early it was the fast-paced goals in the open play. As you see, this was the low shot from Steele for the goal, and lately it's been on the free positions. Jen Giles has gotten a couple, that time going 5-hole, and then the most recent goal, top right corner. And the Terps change at the draw position. Syverson's been doing such a good job. She's back in the middle.
As you said, Syverson again. This one loose on the Terps half of the field, and a little bit of contact there will send it Maryland's way. Little trip on the draw there, and back come the Terps with Syverson. Looking to extend that lead. Syverson will get it back. She'll drive inside. A little bit of contact, no call. Her shot is blocked down. Ground ball is loose and scooped up by the Patriots. A good defensive play there by George Mason. And scooping up the ground ball there was Natalia Moody, the Baltimore, Maryland native.
Yeah, Syverson just went rumbling in there, ran over one defender, and didn't really have a shooting angle. But based on what we've heard from Kathy Reese coming into this game about the desire to play quickly and up-tempo offensively, I think she'll take a play like that.
George Mason back the other way, looking to cut back into the Maryland lead. Nice feed inside there for Morgan Rinn, but didn't make a move towards the goal. Instead, she sets up that George Mason offense with 60 to shoot. Here's Johnson now. Haley Johnson, junior attacker, gives off to Chachi Callahan. Callahan loses her footing a little bit, but gets it back and gives to Donahue. Now a left-handed move by Balsalma. Scored the first goal today for George Mason. And she will pass it off again. Patriots looking for some space here. Nice little move inside, and going in strong there was Abby Folker. Whistle blows as a couple of bodies hit the ground, and possession will go to Maryland.
Yeah, that call on Folker just bowled over her defender like we saw on the other side with Syverson. But the call did come out this time. Take another look. She just went right over Julia Brigg.
Nice job by the senior captain, Julia Brigg, taking the charge there. It'll go back to the Terps. Mercer with it, feeds up top there for Hannah Warther, the junior from Sykesville, Maryland. And here come the Terps quickly. Hartshorn looking for someone to pass to. Couldn't find Syverson. Now Evans has it. Evans feeds inside. Steele with a turnaround goal. Caroline Steele gets the goal right in front of the cage, and the Terps lead 6-2.
Second of the day for Steele, and you see on that one, catches right in the middle of the defense again. Turns towards the net very quickly and acquaints herself with where she wants to shoot, goes high and right. That seems like so far that's been sort of the weak spot for Simcoe defending that top right corner. Maryland has, I think, 3 goals in that spot so far. Great job from Steele, flashing in the middle of the defense and picking up the goal with a good shot.
And a seamless spin move there, all in one fluid motion, turning and shooting to give Maryland its 6th goal of the day. Steele's 2nd of the day, and Erica Evans, the transfer from Canisius, gets her first assist in a Terrapin uniform as Maryland has a 4-goal lead now. See if George Mason can try to find the back of the net again. They'll look for Chachi Callahan, who hasn't done much at all today for George Mason. Callahan still without a shot on the day. The senior who scored 52 goals last season for the Patriots. Mason controls the draw here. Donahue is looking for space, but again, she just backs it out and gives off to Johnson. Johnson will try to make a move against this tough Maryland defense. But she was defended well. And now behind the goal for the Patriots. These two schools not too far away from each other. George Mason down in Virginia, but it's been 8 years since the two have played. They last met in 2011 when the Terps were also ranked 2nd in the country. Maryland won that one 21-2. That is still the largest margin of defeat in George Mason lacrosse history. As this one looked like it would be a little closer early, but the Terps have started to pull away a little bit offensively. Here's Callahan, though, making a spin move. She's double teamed, passes it in front. A great pass and a great goal for George Mason. Folker puts it in, but that was all the work of Chachi Callahan.
And Connor, I'm not sure if that was a pass or she just lost the ball and it turned out to be a good bounce for George Mason. But regardless, all of the attention that Callahan got opened up the area for Folker to get in there. Let's take a look. Callahan moving in on two defenders, and I think she just lost it or threw it up without looking. It happened to find Folker. She puts it in the back of the net. A nice bounce for Mason, and the attention that Callahan gets leads to the goal.
Listen, Justin, I don't know about you, but I'm giving her full credit on the assist there. I'll say she knew exactly what she was doing with that pass. Finds the sophomore Abby Folker alone in front of the net, and Folker scores her first career goal and makes it 6-3. Callahan gets her first assist of the year. She had 24 last season. And that assist right there from Chachi Callahan ties her for fourth all-time at George Mason in career assists. The Terps come back the other way. Pass inside for Syverson. Broken up. Steal is there, but a nice save by Simku. And Donahue picks up the ground ball. Now a little bit of momentum here for the Patriots. They get the pretty goal on one end, and Simku makes a great save on the other end. Now looking to clear it. And Riley does just that as she gives to Abby Folker, the sophomore from Centerville, Maryland, who just scored her first career goal. Folker played in only 5 games last year as a freshman for the Patriots, as she struggled with injury for most of the season, but is back healthy this year and gets her first tally. Here's Johnson with it, looking to continue to cut into that lead with under 10 minutes to play here in the first half. Not quite how we expected this one to go in College Park. George Mason hanging around here, down by just 3. Johnson will feed behind the cage for the junior defender Juliana Brown, who has showed some offensive flashes so far today. And now a feed inside, but it ends up in a stick of Taylor, and the Terps will go the other way. Down the sideline comes Maryland. Nice pass to Hartshorn. She had a little space, but decided to back it out instead. And it gives off to Jen Giles. Terps last season averaged 16.2 goals per game, which is 6 so far in this one. Inside the fan here. Nice move, but it's flipped out to Hartshorn. She gives it across. Nice move inside by Griffin, but her shot goes wide. Terps able to run it down, though, and Brindy Griffin will restart it for Maryland. She has it knocked out of her stick, but scoops it back up. Long pass for Jen Giles now. Giles feeds over for Hartshorn, and the whistle blows. And Hartshorn will get herself a free position opportunity.
Last time she had a free position opportunity from this spot, she passed, didn't like the angle. See if she changes that decision this time.
1 goal already today for Hartshorn on 2 shots. She gets inside looking for another goal, and she loses control of it. Syverson picks it up, though, and Syverson is contacted, and the whistle blows. And Megan Syverson will have a free position shot from right at the top of the fan.
And that call went against Olivia O'Brien. She didn't like it, and it sets up this opportunity for Syverson.
Here comes Megan Syverson, right in on goal, but another stop there by Simku. Rebound, though, goes to Jen Giles, and the Terps will reset with a new shot clock.
Well, Simku has been great today, and she's almost single-handedly keeping George Mason in this game.
Melissa Simku, the junior goalkeeper from Frederick, Maryland. A couple seasons ago in 2017, she was a member of the A10 All-Freshman team. Jen Giles gives it off to Werther. Now she gets in. Her shot goes well wide of the cage. But again, another whistle blew there, and she will get herself a free position shot. Hannah Werther, the junior from Sykesville. Werther will get inside. She feeds to the middle now. Spin move from Hartshorn, and another save there by Simku. Melissa Simku with her 6th save of the day right there. As you said, Justin, she continues to keep the Patriots in this one.
And that was as much a good save as good defense from George Mason as they turn it over on a clear attempt again. But the defense collapsed on Hartshorn, made it tough for her to get the shot off, and I don't think she was able to place it in the spot she wanted to.
Julia Brigg comes up with it for Maryland. She gives it off for Lizzie Colson. Now the Terps come the other way with Grace Griffin and Caroline Steele. Maryland leading it 6-3 here in College Park. As the clock ticks down on the first half, George Mason staying in this game. A nice run by Giles to get open inside the fan. She catches it but pulls it back out. Now here's Griffin looking for space. Instead gives it off. Hannah Warther now, who played in just one game last season, but back in the Maryland lineup this year. Here's Giles. She gets inside. Nice move by Giles as it knocked off her stick. It went right to Warther, but the whistle blew. And Jen Giles will have a free position shot.
You know, the Terps have kind of struggled with the free position shots today, and because of that, it seems like George Mason's strategy has been, hey, if we get a violation called against us, it doesn't matter because our goalie's been so good. So instead of allowing easy goals in the open play, they're playing very physically against Maryland.
Inside Giles, and she scores. Finally gets one past Simcoe there, as she made a couple good saves in a row, but Jen Giles gets her third goal of the day, and Maryland leads 7-3.
Yeah, the hat trick from Giles that time. Her third goal on the free position goes low just outside the left leg of Simcoe, who tried to do anything, maybe try and kick it away. But Giles, the nice shot, gets it back to 7-3 for Maryland with 6:51 left in this half. And if Kathy Reese is, talking to her team right now, I think she'd like this lead extended a goal or two more before the half, get that running clock going in the second half. But 7-3, a good note for Maryland on that goal. And really the game has changed, I think, a little bit since the Terps have put Syverson at the draw position. She's done a very nice job.
See if she can get it done again for Maryland. Megan Syverson, the senior, who has 2 draw controls today already since being put into that spot. She had 63 of them last year in her junior season for Syverson. The transfer from Louisville, played 2 years at Louisville, then came to Maryland last year. She had 23 goals for the Terps last season after scoring 55 goals in her 2 seasons with the Cardinals.
Maryland goal scored by number 5, Jen Giles.
Back the other way come the Terps. A little bit of an errant pass there. And that one's going to be scooped up initially by Abby Folker, but a little bit of contact, and it will go back to Maryland. Terps looking to extend this lead. Match their largest lead of 4 goals here. Giles loses the pass initially, but gets it back. Here's Griffin now. Griffin to Giles. Nice pass, but she can't finish. Shot goes over the cage. Brindy Griffin there to get to it and bring it back into play for Maryland. Now she feeds inside. A bounce shot is wide by Grace Griffin. And again, Brindy Griffin, the junior out of Edgewater, Maryland, will scoop it up. Griffin to Hartshorn now. Terps threatening on this possession a few times already. Inside, Evans lost it. The ball is loose, and it's scooped up by Moody. And she will go the other way before she has it whacked off her stick, but gets it right back. Nice move by Natalia Moody, the sophomore. Picked up 21 ground balls last season. She's got a couple of big ones so far today. And George Mason able to get back into its offense. Quickly comes Callahan. She loses it, though. And the Terps have it. It'll be Megan Taylor who ends up with it. Nice defensive play there for the Terrapins. And now back the other way is Darty. Megan Darty has it knocked off her stick, and George Mason forces a turnover there in midfield. Good defensive play by Folker. Abby Folker will bring it the other way. See if George Mason sits back again offensively with 75 seconds on the shot clock. And look to inch a little bit closer against the Terps here at Maryland Stadium. George Mason team averaged Just under 14 goals per game last season when they went 11-7, 5-4 in the A-10 conference. This is the toughest test this team has faced in a while against the second-ranked Maryland Terrapins, a team they've never beaten in 7 tries. Feed over to Fulker now. She gives it to Callahan. Callahan working on Shelby Mercer. Goes to her left, now switches back to the right. Here's Balsama. She gets to the left hand. Her shot, and she scores. Goes over top the stick there of Megan Taylor and cuts the Maryland lead to 7-4.
And what a collegiate debut for Balsama that time. Cut into the middle, and then from the left side goes high right corner against Taylor. A lot of velo on that shot, a very quick release, and a big goal for Mason, only down 3.
And when talking to head coach Jesse Morgan yesterday, I asked her, what freshman on your team should we watch out for? She said Deanna Balsama. She said that freshman is going to be a big part of her offense this season. And Balsama showing it so far today, 2 goals already. And George Mason has cut the Maryland lead to 7-4. Again, a 2018 U.S. Lacrosse High School All-American for Washington Township High School in New Jersey. But now with under 4 to play in the first half, this would obviously be a score line that Coach Morgan would love to see going into the half, but still a lot of lacrosse to play before we hit halftime. Draw controls have been key so far since the Terps put Syverson in there. They've won a lot of them, and the Terps have now won 6 of the 11 after George Mason won 4 of the first 5 draws. And the big difference is turnovers as well. George Mason turned it over 9 times. The Terps only 3 times so far today.
Like I said, do what you have to do.
This draw fought for, and a whistle will go against the Patriots. The Terps will have it the other way. Pass is scooped up by Grace Griffin. And the Terps will set the offense here. Griffin, the sophomore, who had 30 goals last season. She'll feed it inside. Syverson loses the handle of the pass, and it's scooped up by the goalkeeper, Simku.
And it looked like that time Syverson tried to shoot before she had the ball in her stick, just lost control, and another turnover for Maryland.
Back come the Patriots here. Simku out of her goal a little bit to help the defenders, and that pass was an errant one, and Patriots turn it over right back. Werther scoops it up for Maryland and gives to Julia Brigg. The senior Brigg from Reisterstown, Maryland. One of the captains on this team. She takes it all the way into George Mason territory, and then a whistle blew. She was fouled, and the Terps will get to restart it. Now Caroline Steele for Maryland. Here comes Steele, the lefty. She'll move it inside and give to Hartshorn. Now back to Steele. Feed inside for Steele. She had a lot of space, turns to her right, and she scores. Caroline Steele, the lefty, this time turning over the opposite shoulder to give Maryland an 8-4 lead.
And it's a hat trick for Steele as well, so 2 hat tricks for Maryland players today. You see on this one, Steele gets the pass from Hartshorn, fake to her left, cuts back right, and a quick shot just over the stick of the goaltender. And that was a good move. That's the second time we've seen Steele catch the ball with her back to the net, make a move, and score. And that time just not enough time for Simcoe to react.
Steele, the senior from Severna Park, Maryland. As Justin said, she gets her 3rd goal of the day. She scored 59 times last season and was named an All-Big Ten selection and was an IWLCA All-American last year. She was 2nd on the Terps in goals behind Megan Whittle last season. She's starting off 2019 on the right foot as well. Her and Jen Giles, each with a hat trick. And Maryland leads 8-4. Just over 2 minutes to play in the half. We'll see who can end strongly here. George Mason trying to just keep it close and get to halftime. Terps offense pouring it on. And Megan Syverson wins another draw for the Terrapins. And She'll come the other way down the left side of the field. Syverson gives it off to Hartshorn. Hartshorn with a jumping shot. It's over the cage. And it will stay with the Terrapins.
And Hartshorn took a blow up high there, still able to get the shot away, but as you said, just a little bit high.
Here's Griffin behind the goal. And she'll feed it out to Werther. Here comes Evans. Evans gets inside. Evans with a shot, and she has her second goal as a Terrapin. The grad transfer from Canisius makes it 9-4 Terps.
And a late first half push has gotten Maryland out to a 5-goal lead, and that's what she brings to the attack. Erica Evans showing the speed that time to enter the center. Her second goal of the day, as you said, Connor. And as we take a look at this one, goes right around her defender, finds the opening, bounce shot goes between the legs of Simcoe. That's just a really good individual play right there from the transfer, Erica Evans.
She was pretty easily able to beat the sophomore Christina Romano there. Got right by her on the left side and scored with a bounce shot to make it 9-4. Erica Evans, the graduate transfer from Canisius, originally from Peterborough, Ontario, up in Canada. She, a player for the Canadian national team, played at Canisius for 3 seasons and scored 186 goals in those 3 years, making her the all-time leading scorer in Canisius history. But she tore her ACL before the 2018 season and missed all of her senior year with Canisius, so still had a year of eligibility left, had already graduated, and decided to become a graduate transfer and come play for the Terps for her final year of eligibility. She was a great get for Kathy Reese and this Maryland program.
And it's the second year in a row that Kathy Reese has been able to do that. She got Syverson from Louisville 2 years ago, as you said, and then this year she adds such a dominant goal scorer in Evans, and those are sort of your wild cards where you have teams and you look at what they returned. Maryland from a Final Four team last year, North Carolina in the Final Four, James Madison lost a ton, and then you had Boston College as well. But when you have these transfers from other schools that have the experience in college women's lacrosse, it's a wild card that makes it difficult to predict how the season is going to unfold because, yeah, you have freshmen in and they need to sort of figure out their way into playing in college athletics, but transfers are ready-made players, and 2 years in a row, Maryland's gotten some really, really good ones.
And to give some context on Evans, 72 goals back in 2017 in her last full season with Canisius, 76 goals for her in 2016. Feed inside here, but the pass is dropped there by Morgan Wren. 20 seconds on the game clock in the half. We'll see if the Terps can push it here and try and get in position for a goal, or they may just be content to go to the half with the 9-4 lead, and that's what it looks like Maryland will do. Is Megan Taylor, the senior, will run out the clock in the first half. So George Mason kept it close here, but the Terps pulling away a little bit at the end of the half, but still anyone's game through 30 minutes. Maryland leads it 9-4 as we're halfway through here at Maryland Stadium. We'll be back for the second half here on BTN.
Okay, 9-4. Like we said, not quite as big as you would expect. And remember, just before this in the men's game, what was it, 5 or 6 goals in a row by Richmond at the end of a game that it looked like Maryland was handling, turned into a 1-goal decision. So you never know what can happen here.
And he talked about the cold. It's got to be even colder down the field. When we started, sun was covering about half of the playing surface. Now the whole playing field is pretty much covered in the shade. So it's got to be a little bit colder out there for the Terrapins and the Patriots as we're set to go here in the second half. Callie Hartshorn is back in there taking the draw for Maryland. It's popped up in the air, and George Mason is going to win this one. So again, Hartshorn struggling with the draws. And the Patriots will have first possession here in the second half, trailing 9-4 against the second-ranked Terrapins at Maryland Stadium. Nice move inside by Callahan, but, that was Brown, but she didn't find anyone to pass to. Feed inside for Donahue. Her shot is saved by Taylor. Popped up in the air. It was loose. Mercer got to it, and the whistle blows.
And Connor, I think, like we said, George Mason has to be happy with some of the contributions it's gotten from players other than Callahan today. But if they are really going to compete and have a chance to win this game, Callahan, one of the best players in school history, has to get going.
Reposition opportunity here for the Patriots to try and cut into this lead. It'll be Donahue trying to make it a 9-5 game. The sophomore Donahue, who had 44 goals last season, instead just passes it back out to the top where Johnson was. Now they feed inside, and a shot goes low and wide of the goal. It was a tough angle there for Balsalma, who was looking for the hat trick. But the Patriots will keep possession.
Tough angle, almost no angle there. She tried to go low and sneak it in the corner of the net, but George Mason able to keep possession.
Now it's Chachi Callahan with it, and she feeds it off for the junior Morgan Rinn. George Mason passing it around here. Balsalma had a lot of space on that last opportunity. Maybe had a little more space to get in front of the goal, but didn't do so. Here's Callahan looking for her first goal, but her shot goes high. Balsalma, though, back there for George Mason to keep the possession. Patriots looking to strike first here in the second half, just as they did in the first half. George Mason did score the first goal of this game. Here's Folker now. She's got one today, loses possession of the ball. It's on the ground, and it's scooped up there by Megan Taylor. Nice job by Shelby Mercer to get to it and bat it back to her goalkeeper.
And it was a good play by Mercer, as you said, but Doherty with the early defense one-on-one causes the turnover. Nicely done there by Doherty, the senior.
Now the Terps the other way here. Nice move inside, and that's goal number 10 for the Terrapins, and the fourth today for Jen Giles, as she makes a nice move and makes it 10-4 Terps.
And that's the first goal of the day in the open field for Jen Giles. She'd done it on the free position goals 3 times in the first half, and this time moving in, cutting from left to right, and a good shot to get it past the new goalkeeper, Benedetto.
So now 10-4, and as you said, Justin, a change in the net for the Patriots. Melissa Simku is out of there after she had a great first half for this team. She did allow 9 goals, but made 6 saves. And Elizabeth Benedetto, the senior from Fairfax, Virginia, is in there, and she allows a goal. Benedetto played in 4 games last season, the Patriots, as she battled some injury. She did make 1 start. That one and only start was in the A-10 semifinal game that George Mason lost last season that ended its season. She played in the final 4 games of the year, did Benedetto, after coming back from injury. But she has made 20 career starts in her 3 seasons with the Patriots. Another draw controlled initially by the Terps, and the Terps will have it the other way.
Number 5, Jen Giles.
Here comes Grace Griffin from Maryland. She'll go right in on goal. Left-handed shot, and she scores. Grace Griffin does it herself on that one to make it 11-4 Terps.
Well, Maryland has moved quickly all day offensively, but I think Griffin that time went so quickly that it surprised the George Mason defense a little bit. Moving in, looked like she was looking for a pass, and eventually saw a shooting lane and took it.
2 quick goals for the Terps here in the second half. After a long George Mason possession, ended up scoreless to start this half. Terps get back-to-back quick ones. They open up their largest lead at 7 goals. It's 11-4 here. Grace Griffin getting the goal. That's her first of the season, first of the day. She had 30 goals last year, and that goes along with the 2 assists she already has today. The sophomore out of Sykesville, Maryland, is the 2018 Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and she has started her sophomore campaign red hot so far today. Quickly, the Terps starting to pull away a little bit. Benedetto struggling, the senior, since she's been put in there. 2 shots past her so far. Draw is loose, and again controlled by Callie Hartshorn. She'll come the other way for Maryland. Terps looking to put this one away early here in the second half. Into the game now for the Terps, Katie May, the sophomore. Now fed outside for Maryland. It's Hartshorn. And the whistle blows. Both teams kind of looking around, a little confused, waiting for the call. But it will be a free position opportunity for Grace Griffin and Maryland. A little confusion on where she was going to be positioned, but it will be right out top in front of goal. Here comes Griffin. Bounce shot. It goes wide. Picked up, though, by Steele. She's got an open net, and she missed it. Now May has it for the Terps. Behind the goal, and she'll feed it out, and the Terps will swing it around to Jen Giles. Now Hartshorn. And it's Griffin again. Under 50 on the shot clock. She'll give off to Brittany Griffin. And a long feed over to Jen Giles. The Terps had a good chance to score there, but Caroline Steele couldn't find the open net, and now a pass into traffic. A lot of contact there. It will just roll out of play. And looks like possession will stay with the Terps.
Yeah, and they did call the violation on the foul, on the collision, on the pass going in the middle there. Looked like sort of incidental contact that the two players arrived at the same time, but call goes Maryland's way.
Free position shot here for Syverson. It goes well wide of the goal. The Terps were back there. Katie May, the sophomore from Sparks, Maryland. She gets to it. And the Terps have it back. Move to the left from Giles. She'll swing it behind the goal. Pass inside for Hartshorn. She's wide open, but a great save there from Benedetto.
And that was a great pass to Hartshorn, who I don't think she realized how wide open she was. She caught it with her back to the net, made a spin move around, and then looked for her shot, but she was so open, she could have just advanced at the net and probably had an easier opportunity than the one that came her way.
Morgan Wren back the other way for George Mason. Seems like this Patriots team maybe needs a goal here on this possession. Trailing by 7 with under 26 minutes to play. They did a nice job controlling the tempo in the first half, but the Terps have really controlled it and played a lot faster here in the second half. Head of steam there for Christina Romano, but she hands it off for the sophomore Olivia O'Brien, who feeds down to the corner. Balsalma now, already with the 2 goals. She's working on Lizzie Colson, and she gives it up. Chachi Callahan, nice feed in front, and a great save by Megan Taylor on the doorstep. A great denial there of Brown, and the Terps will go the other way.
Yeah, great save from Taylor. Her best of the day. It looked like Brown had an easy opportunity, and Taylor almost took it right out of her stick.
So back come the Terps. The junior Lizzie Colson feeds it up for Grace Griffin. Nice clear there by Colson. The junior from Manchester Valley High School here in Maryland. Colson, a 2018 All-Big Ten selection. Katie May behind the goal, feeds out for Griffin. Nice feed inside for Hartshorn. Now she feeds it in front, and the pass was stolen by Benedetto. It's still loose, though, and Caroline Steele comes up with it, and she's knocked to the ground as the whistle blows. Nice anticipation there by the senior goalie Benedetto to pick off the pass, but then she lost control of it, and it goes back to the Terps.
Yeah, it really was a good play from Benedetto, but as you said, the Terps continue to fight for it and keep the opportunity for themselves. Relentless attack offensively.
So Caroline Steele, the senior, who has 3 goals already today, will restart it for the Terps. Brand new shot clock for Maryland as George Mason possessed that ball and then Benedetto lost it. Referee here chatting with Olivia O'Brien of George Mason. And still holding up the play here, as the referees are trying to sort something out down there. We're waiting for the restart of play. Now we see the third ref back out on the field. And now the 3 will come together initially, and we're still waiting, Justin, on a return to play here as Caroline Steele is going to look to make this 12-4. Finally, she gets the restart, and she sends it across the field here. Hannah Glaros, the freshman from Ellicott City, into the game for the first time. She'll get herself a free position shot. freshman wearing that 23 number. Worn by the great Megan Whittle last season. Glaros goes inside, nice save. Rebound shot is saved as well from Warther. Caroline Steele comes up with it and feeds it out top as Maryland will reset.
And Warther sort of tried to bat it in there, but too much congestion in front of the net. A nice job by Steele getting on the turf and pushing it out to a teammate, able to keep the possession for Maryland.
Behind the goal here, now feed to Warther. She gets inside, her shot goes high. And backing it up is Brindy Griffin. Terps with a lot of shots here in the second half. Syverson now on the right hand, loses it, but the whistle blows. It'll be a foul against George Mason. It looks like Megan Syverson will have a free position opportunity. Syverson right at the top of the fan here. Looking for her first goal. Senior Megan Syverson from Morristown, New Jersey, a Louisville transfer who scored 23 goals last season. She gets inside and her shot finds the back of the net. Maryland's lead is 12-4 on Syverson's first goal of the year.
And Syverson shot that a little bit earlier than we've seen from other players off the free position, but saw an angle she liked, went low and to her right, bounced it in, and you see Maryland now, it's 12 goals on 29 shots. Syverson, the bounce shot, makes it 12-4.
The Terps now pulling away here in the second half. Have scored all 3 goals in the half so far, and the Terps a 5-goal run after George Mason had cut it to 7-4 late in the first half.
And we talked about right out of the break how George Mason has been doing a good job limiting the runs of Maryland, but this 5-goal run has opened up the lead as big as it's been for Maryland. And as you said, maybe last possession, definitely now, George Mason needs a goal to stop this.
George Mason's going to look for one of these draw controls here. Terps have controlled 10 of the 17 draws so far today, between Hartshorn and Syverson in there for Maryland. George Mason will look to try and get back into this one. And we talked about the last time these two teams played, March 8th of 2011 here in College Park. Terps won that one 21-2. That's still the largest margin of defeat in George Mason history. The all-time series is the 8th meeting, and the Terps have won all 7 and have won all 5 meetings here in College Park. As George Mason controls the draw here. The closest George Mason has ever been to beating Maryland came back on March 16th of 2005. That game went into overtime between the Patriots and the Terps, but Maryland came out on top 10-9 in OT in that one. That game was one of 2 in the series that was actually played down in Fairfax, Virginia. Patriots in desperate need of a goal here. Now, trailing 12-4 with 23 minutes to play. Callahan will swing it behind the goal for Balsalma. Chachi Callahan has been quiet so far today, the senior from Ellicott City. 4th all-time in goals at George Mason with 127, and now a feed inside and another save from Megan Taylor. And she makes the outlet pass on one bounce out to Lizzie Colson. The Terps will clear it here. Colson double teamed, but she gets through it easily. And now has a little space to work if she wants to, but we'll hand it over to Caroline Steele. Talking about Callahan on the other end. 4th all-time in goals, 4th all-time in assists in George Mason history, but just the 1 assist and still hasn't scored so far today. Move here for the Terps from Kelsey Cummings. She was looking for space. Now feed to Warther, a bounce shot, and it's saved barely by Benedetto, but she got enough body on it to keep it out of the goal.
Yeah, Benedetto got a piece of that one and then sort of fell on it as the ball landed between her legs. A good job not only to make the save, but also not allowing any rebound opportunity.
Nice clear from the Patriots here as they come the other way. Morgan Rinn has it. And she feeds it off for Juliana Brown. Patriots again looking for a goal. They may have to go to Callahan. Second team All A10 last year. She led this team with 52 goals. And her 76 points last season set an all-time George Mason single-season record with 52 goals and the 24 helpers. Juliana Brown trying to get inside, but she was blocked off and had to turn around here. Move here from Johnson, but she'll pass it behind the cage. Chachi Callahan also had 41 goals as a sophomore back in 2017 and 34 goals as a freshman in 2016 when she was named to the A10 All-Freshman team. Donahue with a nice pass, but Balsama couldn't handle it. And Shelby Mercer, the senior from Woodbine, Maryland, scoops it up for the Terps. Mercer having a nice day so far defensively, and the Terps will streak the other way. It's Megan Darty, and she will hand it off. Warther has it. She'll give it to the senior, Kelsey Cummings, who's into the game for Maryland. And now Caroline Steele. Kathy Reese going to her bench a little bit here in the second half. Katie May, Kelsey Cummings into the game, along with Anna Glaros, who's out there. Pass in front of the cage, hits off one of the George Mason defenders. Cummings scoops it up. Didn't have much space to shoot. She'll pull it back out with 50 on the shot clock. Fed over now. Now in front for Hartshorn. Hartshorn looking for space to shoot, makes a nice move, gets inside and scores. Callie Hartshorn, the junior, makes it 13-4 Maryland with under 20 minutes to play.
And what an awesome play for Hartshorn there. Didn't look like she had anywhere to go. And then she faked a pass and completely fooled the defenders around her and opened up the space. We'll get a look at this one. Hartshorn, see the fake right there, turns around and has the open lane to the net. Tremendous offense from Hartshorn. It was Erin Donahue who she got the fake on there. You see the fake pass, Donahue goes for it, and that opens up the opportunity for Hartshorn.
So now 13-4, the Terps have the lead. Callie Hartshorn gets her second goal of the day. She scored 38 times last year. And Maryland has the 9-goal lead, so getting very close to that running clock. One more goal for the Terps will do it. Maryland opening up the big lead, outscored opponents by an average of about 7 goals last season, and now have the 9-goal lead over George Mason. Contact as Hartshorn falls to the ground.
Maryland goal by number 16.
Still a struggle for the loose ball here.
Top of the goal, 19.
And finally, the ground ball is scooped up by George Mason. Contact on the sideline. It'll stay with the Patriots as the sophomore Allie Johnston, a Manchester, Maryland native, picks it up, but now the ball is loose again, and the Terps get the turnover here. Brindy Griffin has it for the Terps as she didn't have much help, so she slows it down a little bit. It's Hartshorn now for Maryland with 19 minutes to play. The Terps up 13-4. Steele gives it back in front. A beautiful save there. Stopping Evans at the doorstep there was Benedetto, as Erica Evans was looking for a hat trick in her Maryland debut. But that was a great one-on-one save.
And again, George Mason getting some good play in net. Doesn't matter which goalkeeper it's been. They've made some nice saves. I mean, 31 shots, only 13 goals for Maryland so far. Obviously, 13 is a lot, but when the Terps have put as many shots at the net as they have, it shows that the goaltending's been good for George Mason today.
Simcoe had 6 saves in the first half. Benedetto with 4 saves so far here in the second half. Simcoe allowed 9 of the goals. Benedetto has allowed 4 past her so far. Chachi Callahan with it on the other end. Again, as we've talked about, she's been quiet today. Christina Romano has it. Her pass goes wide. But there to scoop it up for George Mason. Juliana Brown. Here's Johnston with it. Again, we'll feed Brown. She'll give it right back. Johnston looking for space on the right side. With 20 to shoot for George Mason. Contact inside the fan. Johnston goes down, no call. Here's Callahan with 10 to shoot. Got to make a move here. Chachi Callahan. Behind the goal here, 5 to shoot. Looking to feed it in front, and instead she will just throw it into the corner and take another shot clock violation. And you have to think, Justin, it's a smarter play early in the game when this game was still close, but at 13-4, you have to think Callahan at some point wants to get a shot off there. Instead, she just couldn't find space and tossed it into the corner.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, down 9 goals, why not just try and take a shot and see what happens? You never know. Taking the shot clock violation, can't score if you take a shot clock violation.
14th turnover of the day for George Mason. Terps have turned it over just 4 times. Another shot and another save there from Benedetto, who gets her 5th of the half. So the 2 goalies have really been bright spots, as you've talked about, for George Mason, as the deficit stays at 9.
And I think Jesse Morgan, the head coach for GMU, is going to have a decision coming up when George Mason gets into the rest of its schedule about who they want to be their starting goalkeeper.
It was a decision they didn't have to make as much last year, with Benedetto out for most of the season with injury. But 2 years ago, back in 2017, when this team went 11-7 and 7-2 in the A-10, it was Simcoe who started 11 games for this team, and Benedetto started 7 games. So really, the goalkeepers almost split time a couple of years ago, and that's what Jesse Morgan may have to do again this year, because both of them playing at a high level so far. That was Haley Johnson who caught that pass, the junior from Amherst, New Hampshire. And it looks like she will end up with the right side of the goal here for George Mason. Doesn't look to shoot, instead curls it back out and gives to Callahan. Callahan trying to make a move, but again, the Maryland defense with Warther is there. And again, George Mason goes behind the cage. Nice move here, a shot, it's low, but it's saved by Megan Taylor. Balsamo was looking for her hat trick today, but Megan Taylor makes the stop, her 4th save of the day.
And it seems like Taylor's finding herself here in the second half. That time got the stick low, closed her legs, allowed no opening in the middle of the net.
Back the other way come the Terps. A couple more subs into the game. Julia Hoffman, the freshman from Elkridge, Maryland, is in there. Hoffman, the top recruit in Kathy Reese's 2018 recruiting class. Ranked 14th overall in the country by Inside Lacrosse. And a good pass inside. That one trickles home. And a goal there for the senior Kelsey Cummings gives Maryland a 10-goal lead.
And Cummings, the sister of one of the best players in the history of college lacrosse, gets on the board on opening day today, makes the goal. The lead 10 keeps that clock running now. Take a look at it. Once again, a Maryland player flashing to the middle of the defense. A low shot. Benedetto got a piece of it, just not enough to keep it out of the net. Trickled through her legs, and that's the Terps. Goal number 14 of the day.
6th career goal for the senior Kelsey Cummings out of Ellicott City, Maryland. Her first goal since 2017, as she did not score in only 6 games she got on the field last year for the Terps. But gets herself her first of 2019 there. And now the running clock is in effect as the Terps have a 10-goal lead, 14-4 here at Maryland Stadium. We'll see if Kathy Reese continues to get some of the freshmen in there and some of the substitutions in. As mentioned earlier, Julia Hoffman, the freshman from Elkridge, Maryland, into the game, a 2018 Under Armour All-American, and Kathy Reese's top recruit in this year's class. The Terps again win the draw and will have possession. Anna Glaros, another freshman in that class, into the game. And it's Syverson, the senior out there with some of the freshmen for Maryland. Syverson makes a move to her right. She'll pass behind the cage, but that pass was a little high. It goes off the stick and out of play, so the Terps will turn it over as she was looking for Hoffman back there. Terps have really cruised away with it here in the second half. Had a 9-4 halftime lead, but have scored 5 in a row in the second half. Still have not allowed the Patriots to score in 17 minutes here in the second half. Maryland's defense, led by Julia Brigg and Lizzie Colson. Shelby Mercer as well. They've just been suffocating Very much a veteran defensive presence for the Terps this year. Mercer a senior, Brigg a senior, and Colson a junior. Back line for the Terps. And the midfielders have helped out a lot as well. And, of course, Megan Doherty back there, a redshirt junior. So a lot of years under the belt of the 4 top Maryland defenders. George Mason looking for some way to crack this Maryland defense. Here's Johnson, makes a move to the right, and she'll swing it behind the cage. Balsalma now, and we'll give it over to Chachi Callahan. See if she can finally make something happen. Instead, kicks it out. And it's Fulker there. Move inside with the left hand. Pass behind the goal for Brown now. Brown feeds it out front. It's loose. Ground ball is still loose. And it will go a whistle against George Mason, and the Terps will have it. As Julia Brigg will look to take it the other way. Terps again with a running clock on and a 10-goal lead. Back the other way comes Megan Doherty, the redshirt junior. Redshirted her first year in College Park, but has started 43 games since then. Grace Griffin now for the Terps. Looking for some place to feed it inside the fan. Said she gives it over to Syverson, and now Cummings. Now it's fed over to the freshman Hoffman. Hoffman looking for some space here. Feeds it across to the top of the fan. Here comes Cummings with a nice move, and she just misses wide. Benedetto might have gotten a piece of that one. The Terps will keep possession. Griffin a feed to Griffin, and Maryland has an 11-goal lead. Brindy Griffin to Grace Griffin makes it 15-4. Unless they waved off the goal there.
Yeah, it looks like they did, Connor.
So it was a nice feed there, but Grace Griffin may have been inside the crease when she shot that one. So it's no goal, and George Mason will get it back. The Patriots able to clear here. Back the other way comes Johnson. So it was a good feed there from Brindy Griffin, but a violation on the Terps, and the goal disallowed. Johnson around Callahan, and here's Donahue. Haven't called her name much today, Erin Donahue. She does have a goal so far. It's been quiet since then, as has really the entire George Mason offense. 45 to shoot for the Patriots here, who have taken multiple shot clock violations so far today against this Maryland defense. Now under 10 to play with that running clock on. Terps have the 10-goal lead. Balsalma gives off to Fulker. Fulker, a nice streak to the goal, and she scores. Abby Fulker, the sophomore, with her second of the day, makes it 14-5 with just over 9 minutes to play in this one.
And Fulker becomes the second Patriot with multiple goals today. This time she gets the little pass, cuts around into the middle of the fan, and goes bottom corner on a bounce shot against Taylor. Nicely done. From outside, the area where many of the Maryland defenders have positioned themselves all day. Usually George Mason's gotten its goals by passes inside the defense. That time it was a straight run inside. Nice job by Fulker.
Big goal for the Patriots for 2 reasons. One, it's finally the first goal of the second half for George Mason, over 20 minutes in. And the second reason, it stops that running clock as it cuts the lead to 9. The Patriots with a little better of a chance to come back, as on whistles and on goals, the clock will again stop, with it now being a 9-goal deficit. So Abby Fulker, who did not score in 5 games last season, 2 goals today to start her sophomore year. She missed a lot of last season with injury. Another Maryland native, though, out of Centerville, played at Queen Anne's County High School. Has 2 goals in her homecoming game. Terps come back the other way, though. Caroline Steele feeds it inside. Pass is deflected, but a lot of contact there on Jen Giles. And Giles will have a free position opportunity to get that lead back to 10. Giles with 4 goals already today for the Terps. For the senior out of Ellicott City. 3 of those goals have come from the free positions. Giles gets inside and scores and gets the Maryland lead back to 10. Jen Giles now with 5 goals to lead all scorers.
And we asked the question in the pregame show, who replaces Megan Whittle, one of the most dynamic scorers in school history? We thought the answer would be Jen Giles, and today the answer has been Jen Giles. She matches the number on the back of her uniform with her goal total of 5, and that time, again, continues to execute on the free position for the 5 goals coming on free position, and that time she went to the middle section of the net, but right inside the post. Tough for Benedetto, not much she could do about it.
Of course, Giles, who scored the 52 goals last season and 31 assists to go with it. 5 goals for her today as the Terps reopen that 10-goal lead with just over 8 minutes to play in this one. Giles has gotten better every year as a Terrapin. 27 goals as a freshman, 41 as a sophomore, 52 last season as a junior, and already 5 today to start the 2019 season. George Mason wins the draw and will come back the other way, trying to cut the lead again to single digits. For Jen Giles, those 5 goals, also a career high for her. She had scored 4 goals 5 different times in her career. The last time was against Navy back on May 19th of 2018, but the first 5-goal game of her career for Jen Giles. And now some contact on the other end, and we'll see if Chachi Callahan gets a free position opportunity. She will not here, as she'll have to start outside the fan. She'll get to Johnson, though. Couldn't find space to shoot. They'll feed behind the goal. Now a pass inside. There's Donahue, but couldn't find enough space. So 5 today for Giles for the Terrapins, 3 for Steele. Hartshorn and Evans each have 2, and Grace Griffin and Megan Syverson each have 1 for the Terps. Nice move inside, but a save by Megan Taylor, denying Balsalma at the doorstep. Megan Taylor with her 5th save of the day. The Terps senior goalkeeper from Glen Elk, Maryland. Made 189 saves last season. That led the Big Ten, and right down on the other end, Maryland gets a goal to make it 16-5. The Terps switching ends quickly right there, and now open up an 11-goal lead with 6.5 to play. Callie Hartshorn gets her 3rd as she becomes the 3rd Terp with a hat trick.
Well, it's a good thing that the fans aren't actually throwing their hats on the field, or else they'd run out at this point. With the 3 hat-trick goals, and Hartshorn right in the middle, moving to her right, shoots back left. Tough to defend, and right there, Giles makes the pass, Hartshorn the goal. That's the fast-paced offense that Kathy Reese has been talking about coming into the season.
Jen Giles getting the assist. That's her first of the day to go along with her 5 goals. So a 6-point game to open the season for Jen Giles, and Hartshorn, she's got 4 points with the 3 goals and 1 assist for herself as well. Terps lead is 16-5, clock under 6 minutes to play here in Maryland Stadium. Terps have outscored the Patriots 7-1 here in the second half. And they go quickly again the other way. It's Caroline Steele.
Number 5, Jen Giles.
Still looking for a couple for the bench players to get in there. Nikki Sliwak just checking into the game for the Terps. Feed inside for Steele. A jump shot, though, is saved. Nice job by Benedetto again. But she's pressured just outside the crease, and the whistle blows, and a call will go against Maryland. The Patriots will keep possession.
And I know it's so hard to say that a team's played well defensively and the goalies have been good when they've given up 16 goals, but that's honestly the case with George Mason today. 27 shots on net, and they've only given up 16 goals, which is, again, a high number, but we've seen some very good saves out of Benedetto and Simcoe.
Ground ball is still loose here as Cummings was going after it. And it goes out of play off of Kelly Riley's stick for George Mason's. The Terps will get possession back with the 11-goal lead. Down the sideline goes Cummings, makes a couple nice moves and gets free and gives it off to Steele. Talked about Sliwak coming into the game quickly for the Terps. Brooke Robbins, a sophomore midfielder from Davidsonville, Maryland, also in there for the Terps as Kathy Reese again getting some players off her bench here. Robbins has it and gives off the freshman Julia Hoffman. Now Katie May behind the goal. 4 minutes to play here from Maryland Stadium. Hartshorn looking to make a move, loses the ball and gets it right back. Here's Hoffman. She's looking for space, the left-handed shooter. Spin move and now continues her attack on the goal. Behind the goal for Hoffman. Saw the cutter there, but the whistle blew before she could try and give the pass off to Robbins. The clock's still rolling as that whistle blew, and it will be reposition opportunity here for Julia Hoffman. Looking for her first goal. In goes Hoffman, and she misses wide to the right. Goes out of play, and well, the Terps thought they had it. Katie May thought she should have had possession, but instead it will go back to George Mason. But looks like the Terps pretty much in full control. This one up 16-5 with 3 minutes left, and the Terps will go to 1-0 on the season. But it gets a lot tougher for Maryland as the Terps look forward. Just 5 days from now, a road matchup against number 6 Florida, a team that the Terps beat last season, but it was a very good matchup. And that'll be a top 6 matchup between the Terps and the Gators, and then a top 5 matchup between the rival North Carolina Tar Heels. That game on February 24th here at Maryland Stadium. The Terps, a couple of games on the road against UMBC and Hofstra before a couple more ranked matchups with Syracuse and then Penn. So obviously, Justin, another tough schedule for Kathy Reese's team, looking to test this team before the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Kathy does it every year, and it's a big reason why Maryland is so successful. But that game in 2 weeks here against North Carolina is going to be excellent. Over the last 4 or 5 years, barring last year's loss in the Final Four to Boston College, Maryland has pretty much dominated every team in the country except for North Carolina. The Tar Heels seem to be the only team that can beat Maryland in the regular season, and they've beaten Maryland a couple times in the NCAA tournament. So the Terps will be looking to get a little revenge for that and get to 2-0 after the Florida game, maybe get to 3-0. Two of the first 3 games against top 6 opponents, so difficult, but Kathy Reese, that's what she loves to do.
Under 2 minutes to play here in this one. George Mason getting a couple of the subs in, and again, the Patriots take another shot clock violation, just passing one to the corner, and the possession goes back to Maryland with a 16-5 lead. Again, the Terps on the schedule at the moment. 10 teams ranked in the current top 25 sit on their schedule. Florida, UNC, Syracuse, Penn, Penn State, James Madison, Virginia, and Northwestern, and even a game against Georgetown, a team that is not ranked but received votes in the preseason poll. This schedule is a tough one again for Kathy Reese's team.
And this is sort of what happens in lacrosse because there aren't that many schools as compared to other sports that actually have the sport. So many teams, a much higher percentage of teams are ranked. And when you see the elite teams like Maryland or North Carolina or Boston College, they play the tough schedules where you see 9 or 10 ranked opponents.
Free position opportunity again here coming up for the Terps with the 11-goal lead already and the clock running down. A shot, another nice save though from Benedetto. It will go out of play, and possession will go back to the Patriots with under 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, very good save on Cummings, who got a good shot away, but again, some good play in net from the Mason Tenders.
But that should do it for this one from Maryland Stadium. George Mason will try to make one last break at it, but with just about 10 seconds left to play in this one, the Terps are going to go to 1-0 on the season with a win that was a little tough early, but convincing in the second half. As the clock hits 0 from Maryland Stadium, and the second-ranked Maryland Terrapins have taken down George Mason by a score of 16-5. So it was a little tough in the first half for the Terps as George Mason was hanging in there. But in the second half, Justin, all Maryland as the second-ranked Terps pulled away.
Yeah, really, what did seem like they were invigorated in the halftime break. The first half, Maryland good offensively, struggled a bit defensively, but in the second half, pulled away as you would expect.
5 goals for Jen Giles, her new career high. 3 goals from Hartshorn and Steele for the Terps as well. The newest Terp, Erica Evans, got 2 goals. The Terps score 16 times and outscore George Mason 7-1 in the second half to get the W. Terps go to 1-0, George Mason to 0-1. Next up for Maryland, a road game against number 6 Florida. That game on February 14th, a Valentine's Day tilt for the Terps in this one. So for my partner, Justin Galanti, and our entire